then if I hit that like 8-hour window, I'm golden.
See, my problem is getting stoned and watching basketball at night and eating everything in my pantry at like 10:30 during the fourth quarter. Like that break between the third quarter and the fourth quarter where it's just like, all right, I'm going to hit this joint one more time and then I'm going to find something in the pantry to eat.
Yeah. You know, what's tough for me, I love cereal, but I only eat it at night. Okay. And I made the mistake of going to the store hungry. Go ahead, Jordan. You're good. Made the mistake of going to the store hungry, and I bought Reese's Puffs. My God, they are delicious.
Meanwhile, Katie sends me to the store for cereal, and she wants grape nuts.
Justine eats like the Special K fiber shit. But look, you get into the Reese's Puffs game, and it's over. They're just so good. They're so
favorite
good.
Cereal.
It's like all time.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Those are, two classic go-to spots right there for me. What about you? Frosted
Flakes would be my number one. Sign me up for this. I think we've had the conversation about how I don't generally put milk in my cereal.
Just stupid.
But Kix, pretty high up there for me as well.
Kix are good. I'm pretty indiscriminate when it comes to like I'll just give me some good. So what about you guys? Welcome to the Strategy Show presented by No House Advantage. I'm Dave Loughran. Coming back from a long weekend. I had a wedding on Friday, my brother-in-law, and now my sister-in-law. So that's exciting stuff. It was a blast. I was at that point towards the end where it was probably a good thing that they closed the bar,
Oh, weddings. You got to love it.
The thing is, and then Thursday I had the rehearsal dinner, which, we didn't exactly go soft there either. But the thing about weddings is when you're in them, and I'll be honest, I love being in wedding. I think it's great because you show up at like 10 a.m. and there's only a small period where you're actually getting ready. You're drinking the entire day. People that say they don't enjoy weddings, especially when it's people that are close to you or being in a wedding, to me, they're crazy. Unless it's a dry wedding, then I want nothing to do with it.
Or the bride is a nightmare.
Yeah, but I don't have to deal with the bride is the thing.
Yeah, but like sometimes you get in those situations where fun isn't allowed to be had as much as you would like it to be had.
Oh, right. And she's all over her soon-to-be husband. Yeah.
That's just like, man, you're starting this one off on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a good time. Listen, weddings can be an absolute blast. You just have to be, somewhat controlled. I have a trick, right? And I'm sure you've been there before. Now they wouldn't do shots. They wouldn't even give me straight liquor. They wouldn't even give me like Jack and water. Okay. Yeah. So found the loophole, Jack and a splash of whatever it is. So it's basically just straight liquor. But the trick is, you got to go in and hit them with a big tip out of the gate. None of that dollar throughout the night. Let them see it. You know what I mean? You don't wave it in their face, but you make it pretty evident that you're putting a fat tip in there at the beginning of the day. And with no words spoken, right? You're telepathic. You're saying, you're going to take care of me tonight, right? And they're saying yes. Yeah. Am I wrong?
You crumble up that 20 and just fucking throw it at them, right?
Am I wrong though? That's a good way to go. That's
exactly what you should do. That's what I did. Jamaica, a guy hooked me up. Shout out to Percy. If you're watching this, you were the man. No, that's the play. Tip him out early. Be like, look, remember this face? Yep. It's going to look way dumber and worse in like 2 hours because of you. Yeah. That's all.
Right. Yeah. You might not like me by the end of tonight, but you're going to like this.
Yeah. Give me whatever I want. If I'm asking for other people, just tell me that didn't cover it. But yeah, whatever I want, that should be what I get.
Right. Exactly. I had a 20 early on and then a 20 midway through the night. I think that's pretty reasonable. And I got drunk. That's all that matters. Yeah. Hey, we got a super chat before we jump into this. Our Canadian friend with the untaxed DFS dollars, TO Deck 20. You guys are the goats for real. There's no way I can pay you back, but my plan is to show you that I understand. You are appreciated. Tupac, appreciate you, man. And no, you don't need to pay us back. Pay us back by hanging out, watching the shows, and telling your friends about Awesemo and the shows. That's the easiest way you can do it. You know how else you can pay us back, Josh?
Hitting that like button.
Oh, there he is. hitting that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. I know you might just be jumping in. Maybe on your West Coast, it's early. You forgot. We won't hold it against you. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're making that push to 60,000 subscribers. Thanks to you guys hanging out with us for all of these almost 4 years. Are we past 4 years? We're almost at 4 years, I think. Almost
4 years.
March.
4 years March.
Yeah, March. Okay, so we're creeping up on it pretty much by the end of the NFL season. So subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and if you want to join the channel here, become part of the team Awesemo. As you see the badges, you see the emojis. If you're a member, throw some of those gnarly emojis in the chat, and a few things coming down that we're still working on. We got to come up with some really good stuff, and I don't know what it's going to be yet. But if you want to join, we got you. Anyway, Josh, how was your weekend?
Very, very, very low key. No one in my house for the first time in like a month. I didn't do anything but sort of just sit around and chill, relax. Took it easy.
Good. Well, you've had, I mean, you were basically on like a month-long party.
Yeah, it was. I had in-laws for like a week and a half, brother-in-law and sister-in-law for a week, college friends in for a week. My parents were here for a week. It was just bang, 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 nonstop. So my parents left Saturday morning, and then we just kind of chilled, which was very necessary given last week. You
just needed a respite from all of that, right?
More than a little bit. And then Katie's leaving Thursday. She's off to Rhode Island for a week. So I'm going to hang out by myself for a week, which is going to be very necessary.
Oh, that's fun. Keith Carruth just essentially legitimized my theory too. He said, bartender for 10 years, big tip at the start, and you're getting drunk. Yeah, why not? Right? Like, take care of you, take care of me. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo,
asshole. Speaking of that, the situation where you can't get shots, the first wedding that I had post college, or I guess we were technically still in college. Shout out to Chris and Carrie, way to get pregnant in college. Anyway, so funny. Great wedding though, a fantastic wedding, very nice wedding too. And we were trying to get shots, and our friend's dad was trying to get the shots, and they were like, "Sorry, sir, we cannot provide these shots." He was like, "I'm paying for all of this. You'll give me the liquor."
Did they?
They were just like, "Okay, that's fair." Like, he's like, "If I'm cutting this check, you'll serve it to me however you would like however I want it. Pour it in my throat for all I care." They tried to shut him down. He was like, "No, that's not how this one works."
Yeah, the problem with wedding venues, though, a lot of them is they just don't want to get fired. They're not bad people. They just don't want to lose their jobs for letting you rip shots all night.
The key, so for our wedding, we provided our own alcohol and hired our own bartenders. So you were allowed to do whatever you wanted.
I like that. I like that.
I still have a bottle of gin downstairs. We got married 7.5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't drink a lot of gin, man.
No, it's not exactly my favorite either. At my wedding, though, we did. They wouldn't do shots, but they would do on the rocks, and they would do with water. So I mean, that's as good as as good as you're gonna get. I have no problem with that. I don't need to be shooting them all night. But this one was very conservative with the way they handled their liquor. But that's okay.
My father-in-law had a flask of moonshine at our wedding, so I didn't have to worry too much about trying to get the hard stuff.
Yeah, that'll do it. So last night we saw the Bucks go up 2-1 in the series, and your boy Chris Middleton coming to play, huh? I mean, you don't victory lap this. You don't victory lap. You don't go one way and then fully back the other way and then rebound to the other side. This is no praise heaped on you, sir. This is just saying that Chris Middleton, after many of the disparaging comments I have made on this very show, really showed up in a huge way. Who is more valuable throughout this series and into the finals? You might laugh at this question, but is it Middleton or Giannis?
Giannis.
But is it by a lot? Seriously, think about this. Is it really though?
Yeah, it is.
If Middleton plays at the level that we know he can play at, do you think that? Okay, let me ask you this. Ready?
Obviously, I want to give Middleton as much credit as I can too.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to back you in the corner here. Middleton, if Middleton doesn't play all series, or if Giannis doesn't play all series, what does the series look like right now after 3 games?
It's if Giannis doesn't play, they're going to go home. If Middleton doesn't play, they got a shot.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I would say they go home if either of them don't play. Not if both of them don't play, if either of them don't play.
I mean, I think that they're probably going home one way or the other, but it's a lot closer if it's Giannis out. No, it's a lot closer if it's Middleton out. Sorry.
I don't think Giannis leads them to a win in this series if Middleton's out.
Yeah, but he can.
Sure. And you don't think there's any chance if Giannis is out?
Oh, no. I mean, there's still a chance, but like they're the underdogs by a lot at that point.
Yeah, I get it. And I don't even disagree, but I just think that when Middleton, and the problem is Middleton doesn't do that every night, right? Like Middleton clearly doesn't show up every night.
Oh, he doesn't outscore the other team in the fourth quarter by himself.
Yeah, right. But when he does show up like he did last night, and I'm not even just talking, I'm not talking 40 points, John. I'm not talking 38 points. I'm saying like a good shooting game, right? Like just a good overall game. He had overall yesterday, it wasn't just scoring. Middleton did everything. Yeah. But when he has a game like that, the Bucks are impossible to beat. Like seriously, they're not impossible, but they're very difficult to beat when you have your number two serving as your number one scorer and kind of doing what people anticipated him doing coming into the postseason. That's all.
Oh, without question. I think people would look at Chris Middleton a lot differently if he was the secondary creator on the team instead of sort of the primary creator once you get to the playoffs. Like obviously in transition, you give the ball to Giannis and you get the hell out of the way. Like that dude's just not going to get stopped. But when you get into that half court, if Middleton were properly served as that second guy, God, I think he would look lethal on a day-to-day basis. But because he has to be the primary creator, it just looks a little bit different. But people don't realize, I mean, 38, 11, and 7 yesterday, plus 16 for the game in 42 minutes. Just completely nuked Atlanta in the fourth quarter. Everything he was throwing up was going in. It was gross, like gross the good way.
It's funny. I saw you had liked a tweet of mine, and I thought, my God, Josh is up at 10 p.m.
I stay awake for these games.
I know. Is that amazing or what, though, that PJ Tucker's only points came on an attempted pass? I mean, you can't tell me that's not funny as shit.
By the way, I think Giannis touched it.
Me too. It was a goaltend.
So,
or a basket interference, I mean.
Yeah. Which shouldn't be a rule. They should get rid of that. Just like international basketball, there should be no offensive goaltending, but that's neither here nor there. That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But that's PJ Tucker, you know?
It was just so great. Like it was a very, very clear attempted pass. There's no two ways around. Like he didn't shoot. He kind of just went like that and it went straight in.
Insane.
It was good stuff, but I wanted to hit on one more thing, and actually it's perfect time to do so because we're about to jump into tonight's game between the Clippers and the Suns. But before we do, hit up our sponsor, No House Advantage. Plenty of reasons to do so. Not just the fact that on your first deposit, using the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, you get $20 injected straight into your account, but also the fact that we have free tools every day of the year over at Awesemo.com. The No House Advantage player prop tool, which takes our projections and compares it up against the player props over at No House Advantage. The optimal lineup tool that's free at Awesemo.com. And the biggest thing, these props don't change throughout the day at No House Advantage. You have to find the edge. You have to find the advantage somewhere. Now it's peer-to-peer player props where you're building lineups with player props without salary caps. The ones you like the most go at the top. The ones you feel the least confident in go at the bottom. Of course, the most points go to the ones up at the top of your lineup. But it's a GPP style contest, cash money, prizes, all of that great stuff, except player props instead of salaries. But there's real ways to exploit this and find edges. And one of the ways to do that is understanding that at other books, these lines will move. Go to oddshopper.com and check and look them up against what is over at No House Advantage. They'll move throughout the day, but not there. Use that to your advantage. Use the tools. Use the promo code Awesemo. Get your $20. Build that bankroll up over there at No House Advantage. It is a perfect place to do so. No House Advantage, sponsor of the NBA Strategy Show. All right, Josh, before we jump into the Clippers and Suns for tonight, we have to at least hit on Saturday's game because what an unbelievable disaster of a fourth quarter that was. Game goes 84-80, 164 total points. Those teams combined for 29 points in the fourth quarter. Clippers had 12 opportunities to go ahead and went 0 for 12 on those attempts. Paul George missed another crucial free throw. Like, there were so many ways for the Clippers to win that game, and in every way possible, they found a way not to.
That was a steaming pile. I am very happy that I was not awake for the end of that one. Good God, that was gross. What was the finals? What was the fourth quarter? Was like 16-15 or something?
Yeah, there were 29 total points in the quarter.
15-14. There you go. That was absolutely dreadful. Truly, truly dreadful. I would like to pretend like that game doesn't exist, but it did help inform one of my bets that you can check out on the breakfast menu. Myself and Ben Raza should be coming out around lunchtime. Top 3 bets from each of us coming in today, but I got one that leans in that direction of scoring not a lot of points.
So let me ask you something. What do you think in terms of like plus minus on the series in points? What do you think it is, Suns Clippers? Like, how many points of the?
I was going to ask you this today, man.
Oh, you knew?
The Clippers have outscored the Suns for this series by like 4 or 5.
Why would you look that up? I thought I was unique looking that thing up. Yeah. Is that amazing or what?
Yeah, the Clippers won by like 14 or whatever, and the Suns have outscored them by like 10 or 11 in the win, something in that neighborhood.
403 to 400 total margin of points. You know why I bring that up though? Because what's that?
I really did have that one queued up.
I know. I had it loaded up in the hopper as well. I thought it was good.
I can't wait. I was like, I can't wait to say this. It's going to be great.
What makes it insane though is it just goes to show you, yeah, they're down 3-1, but the only blowout has been the Clippers' victory in game 3. They lost by 4. They lost by 1 on that crazy, final few minutes. And then they lost by 6 in game 1. The Clippers have been in it every game. So when we talk about how much of a disaster that fourth quarter was in game 4, it was yet another opportunity for them to win that game. And they should have won that game. But to be down 3-1 in a series and have outscored the Phoenix Suns, it's really crazy.
I did not expect that. It makes sense once you talk it through. And generally speaking, these series are going to be pretty close in points regardless, because you're adding up, numbers in the hundreds over 4 or 5 games. But I wasn't ready for that. And then when I saw it, it just didn't make a ton of sense to me. But it's been a crazy series. It's sort of just Paul George and everybody else. And even Paul, you don't trust Paul George. It's so weird.
He has not been great, but I will say this much.
He has been great. That's the weird thing. He's been great and not great at the same time.
I should rephrase that. There have been periods where Paul George really needed to be great in this series that he hasn't been great.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement, right?
Yeah. I don't know how to wrap my head around it. He's simultaneously the reason that they have even had a shot and been the detriment at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's precisely the way you would put it. And we'll go back to him today. Like I said, when we get the props later in the show, I do have one that I like quite a bit here, and we'll talk about that. But I think ultimately, Josh, how about this? I ran an optimal with the projections earlier today just to see what it would look like, the optimal lineup. And you know who was in the captain spot on DraftKings?
Patrick Beverley.
Ivica Zubac.
Okay, that'll work too.
Now, it's not the craziest thing. His minutes have been nuts lately. I mean, he's played a ton of minutes in this series outside of game 1. So Tyloo makes the adjustment in game 2. He's played 34, 33, and 40 minutes in the last 3 games. That's a lot of minutes.
I don't know. I got nothing to add. Yeah, he's playing a ton. He's playing more now than he ever played before.
So where do we start with the captain? I mean, I think there are definitely some places we can go outside of just the top tier options. I'll throw another one out there for you and let you run with it. Reggie Jackson attempted 24 shots last game. Sure, he didn't play particularly well. He only shot 33% from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. Wasn't great. Not a guy that gets to the free throw line a lot either, but he will jack up a lot of threes. Played 40 minutes in the game. And granted, they just shot miserably. So I don't anticipate the Clippers shooting as poorly as they did in a game that saw 164 total points. But I do think just kind of looking down the list, there have been some players that have put up some big games. Ayton coming off a 19 and 22 with 5 stocks game as well.
So I mentioned the guy, you started this off by mentioning captain plays.
You said Beverly.
And I did say Beverly. And you're going to see a lot of Beverly on the breakfast menu, because not only did I go to him, but our buddy Jazzraz also went to Patrick Beverly, some over props that we've got. I'm very high on him. I actually think that he is, as of right now, at least, I don't want to overreact too much at 10:22 a.m. I think Patrick Beverly is my second favorite captain option today at 3,200.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And I think a lot of that just has to do with the structure of salaries for today. To go to Beverly, it allows you to get that powerful trio at the top. You can get to Paul George, you can get to Devin Booker. Now you can't get to Chris Paul, but you can't get to DeAndre Ayton in that spot. So you get Booker, Paul, or you get Booker, George, and Ayton at the top. You still have enough money then for Zubats and Terrence Mann. You don't really have to pay down anywhere substantially in my optimal, having Beverly at the captain spot. I'm a little heavy on him, I think, but I'm more than okay with it right now. He actually has the second best odds in my sim of being in the optimal captain spot.
So you take him at even money over 7.5 points?
Yes.
Okay.
I might even take him at minus 120 over 6.5 points for one strip of bacon.
Where are you getting that one? Is there a book that's offering 6.5 points minus 120? You don't have to say the book because we can get in trouble here. You can go to oddshopper.com and find all of those, but there is one offering that?
Yes, there is, or at least there was prior to recording. And it is a generally popular book that also hosts DFS contests.
Okay. Might have a blue logo.
It certainly does. Which, by the way, that line does not appear to exist any longer.
Okay. It got pulled.
Yeah,
Probably
but it's
7.5.
I would be, look, I had it at 6.5 minus 120. It's now 7.5 even money. I would take either one of those.
All right. Yeah. I mean, look, the thing about Beverly is he doesn't score a lot of points. First of all, he had 2 points in 34 minutes last game, but he played 34 minutes. So I think I took the under 7.5 on him 2 games ago, and he went for 8. Which was sandwiched in between games of 2, 6, and 2. Granted, that one game with 2, he only played 15 minutes, but it's really difficult for me to go over on any points prop for Beverly. Is it just a minutes thing for you?
It is. So he played 34 minutes in the last game. They did not have Rondo out on the floor at all. DeMarcus Cousins now also not in the lineup any longer. So if we are getting an 8-man rotation, I think Beverly is playing 30 minutes, 32 minutes, something along those lines. And it's not going to take all that much for him at 3,200 to be an optimal captain. In particular, let me get to it. What is his name again? Patrick Beverly. There we go. So on average, for him to be in the optimal lineup, he has to score just north of 24 fantasy points, which is right around where I have him projected. I might be like a point or two higher than most, but you're looking for something in that 24 fantasy point range, because 3,200 for a guy that's going to play potentially 30 plus minutes, I have him in for 32. He could just as easily play the same amount of minutes that he played in the last game. That's a value that you can't really overlook. And there's enough pay up options that you kind of need to go to some sort of value option. I like him a lot more than Kennard. I certainly don't think Rondo or Cousins are going to do anything all that great. I don't want Saric or Moore or Nader or Torrey Craig. Cam Johnson is 4K. I would rather have Pat Beverly at 3,200 than Cam Johnson at 4K. Everybody else is more expensive than Pat Beverly that's going to get minutes other than Luke Kennard. So for me, he's the only real option if he's playing 30 minutes.
This might be a question that other people have sometime when it comes to just straight showdown slates and kind of a newer format, because they've only been around for a little while. Jeffrey says, can you please explain how those 1.5x points get made up when you roster a low salary guy, specifically relating to somebody like Beverly?
Yeah, it's by having him there. One, I don't think that it's crazy that if he goes for 30 fantasy points today and that turns into 45, you're sitting pretty at 3,200. But you unlock it when you think that all of the highest priced guys are going to have decent days. So to get to a Beverly and captain spot, what you're basically saying is, I expect Paul George, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, all but one of those guys in this case, because you can't get them all in that same lineup. You're expecting them all to carry the large amount of weight. And that's how I feel about this series. I don't really see Phoenix getting there without Booker, Paul, and Ayton, without two of those three guys being the driving force. Same story for Paul George. So if I know that I got to get two of the three pay-up options from Phoenix plus Paul George, I'm running low on options of the rest of the guys that I can put in that lineup. So Beverly, to me, is just winning by default because of his salary.
What
and
about
again,
Zubats?
I have Patrick Beverly being the optimal captain 15% of the time. 85% of the time, it's not him. So
right.
like, while I'm advocating hard, there's context here.
Another thing to consider, and if you mentioned this, my apologies, I was reading chat. Yes, Paul George has been very good from a DFS standpoint, but a lot of times you'll have these showdown slates in the postseason, and it's like, okay, you have Giannis or Embiid, or you'll have a bunch of really good players in a case like this, or in a case like previous series. We've seen many of them where on a slate like this, if you're not playing one of these top tier options, I think Milwaukee, Brooklyn would be the best example, right? Because it's Durant, it's Giannis. Sure, there's Middleton and Holiday, and there were some shots we'd take with James Harden, but just a lot of high end guys and even mid tier guys. On this one, like Devin Booker is expensive, but Devin Booker has a pretty low floor, especially when Chris Paul is out there. Chris Paul is a phenomenal player. I'd love to see him get to the finals. But he's also not someone that you can just lock in for 50 fantasy points every game. I could make the very same argument with DeAndre Ayton, who had his first 50-plus fantasy point game in, I don't know, all playoffs. Maybe he had one against the Lakers, but he hasn't had one in a long time. And then, Paul George would be the obvious answer here, the most reliable of the bunch, especially with Kawhi Leonard out. But none of these guys are just locks to make it as an optimal captain or even close. George would obviously be the closest.
Yeah. So like Paul George to me is the best captain option you can get to. We're projecting him for 30% ownership. I've got him at 27%. I'm happy to just call it 30, which also still means that 70% of the time he is not the optimal captain. He's basically like a solid baseball player getting a hit. You know, like when you start thinking about it in terms of the context of other sports, that's where it really puts it into perspective. If it's just like, oh, is Vlad Guerrero Jr. going to get a hit today or in this at bat? Those are the odds of Paul George being the optimal captain. More often than not, the answer is no, and it's somebody else.
Yeah, less than a third in the captain spot. You said you have him in the optimal at 33%?
27.
Oh, 27%. Okay.
Yeah. We have them projected for 30.5% ownership. So, like for all intents and purposes, we'll call it 30.
I mean, hey, Patrick Beverly has like the sixth highest captain spot ownership right now. I guess the only question that relates to Beverly, and then we can keep going here, but this is the important stuff anyway, right? Is Beverly somebody that's just going to be over-owned? Like there's a very good possibility that Beverly could play quality minutes and still be a total afterthought in basically all phases of the offense.
Oh yeah, without question. The only saving grace to that is the fact that he's 3,200. So it really, it's pretty easy for him to not be the answer, but it's really hard for Patrick Beverly to be a problem in your lineup, given what he's going to unlock. You're just going to be playing more of the Booker, Paul, Ayton, George, Jackson group of five. Like you're going to have three of those guys by default. So your lineup is still very, very live to cash, even if Patrick Beverly is a problem. I just think that he can be quite the solution given his salary, because to me, there's nobody below him that's a better option.
What do you think the possibility is that Ty Lue switches things up today and Beverly isn't in the starting or not starting lineup, but doesn't get a ton of run? And I will point out again, the Clippers have a positive point differential in this series.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? Because it's not like they've been getting smoked. They're in every single game. So if I'm Ty Lue, I'm not sure I want to make wholesale changes at all. Like it's not like Zubats hasn't worked or hasn't played well. No, he has. It's not like Beverly has been a liability. What he's doing should be working. You're just playing a very good Phoenix Suns team and you're failing to capitalize. you're failing to make shots. It's not like they're giving up 400 points a game to the Suns, because they're not at all.
No, we're on the exact same page there. And that's why I'm still a little bit interested, because I don't really see Ty Lue making a ton of changes, because I don't know what those changes would be.
Right.
He's basically just lost a couple coin flips. And this doesn't, I think that Ty Lue is a great coach in a series making changes. I can't imagine he's looking at this thinking, I need to blow this up. Like, they're right there. This series could look very, very different off the back of like one or two plays. We're talking about it in a completely different way. So I don't really expect many changes. I think seeing him get 34 minutes in the last game makes me feel pretty confident that he plays north of 30 today.
Yeah, I can't argue it. I think we're on the same page with that. It's just, there's no basis in, like, there's no reason for me to look at it and just, the only way I would assume that he's going to make changes is because they've lost. But if you actually put context, if in context, they're losing, but they're not losing badly, and they're not even playing worse than the Suns. Like you said, it's when you're losing every game by like 2 or 3 points, or 1 point, I think it was, like you said, it's kind of a coin flip at that point. And it's Paul George. It's the difference between Paul George making a free throw, right? Or not missing to all 12 consecutive shots in the fourth quarter. Those are the small differences that you'd say, well, maybe they need to change it up. Not really. That's just, it's not going their way. If you're playing Beverly, this is where it gets kind of fun, right? If you're playing Beverly in the captain spot, what does the rest of your lineup look like? And is this actually something that you worry will be duped a ton, because everyone's just going to say, okay, cool, I can play all the expensive guys now?
So my first three optimals are three different captains: Beverly at captain, Paul George at captain, Zubac at captain. So I think that there are a couple different directions you can go, depending on what you want to do. But like, if you go to Paul George at captain, you're going to have like Ayton, Reggie Jackson probably becomes the combo. Not getting to Chris Paul or Devin Booker feels a little bit weird in lineups like that. So I love what Beverly is bringing me in terms of unlocking all of that additional salary. If I'm looking at anybody else for captain, we've got DeAndre Ayton projected for 11% ownership. That seems spot on to me. Chris Paul, I think, is picking up too much captain ownership at 10%. He's pretty expensive at 10.6. It's just not a direction I want to go. The guy that I'd be looking at most after that would be Reggie Jackson, 8,600, projected for 5% ownership. Yep. I've got him at about 10. So Reggie Jackson and Pat Bev are like my two guys that I like a lot in GPPs. Zubac would be a third. I think all three of those guys are getting a little underrepresented.
Yeah, I really like Zubac today because I like centers that play a lot of minutes that aren't expensive. It's really that simple. I don't need crazy high shot volume from him. And don't just ignore the fact that he's actually getting to the line at a decent enough clip too. And Ivica Zubac on the season is almost an 80% free throw shooter. So that's pretty beneficial. He's got 3 straight pretty solid double-doubles too, Josh. I mean, this guy's playing well. The minutes are there. And if he comes anywhere close to 40 minutes again, how do you not like Zubac, even at that price that's crept up a little bit?
I can't believe he's playing this many minutes now in this series. It's
crazy
to me. Absolutely crazy. And he's looking good. I mean, I was a fan
not that crazy,
but I didn't think he'd be playing 36 minutes a game.
Me neither, but you can't play Cousins.
No, he's dreadful.
Yeah, it's bad. Marcus Morris is clearly not at 100%. My guess is that Marcus Morris, if this is the regular season, might not even be playing right now. Yeah. Like, they might just have him sitting out. What are your alternatives, right? Like, seriously, where else do you go? Do you bring in Patrick Patterson? Guy hasn't played a single minute all postseason. There's just nowhere else to go here outside of either going mega small ball, which is not going to work right now against the Suns team, or you play Zubac for a ton of minutes. And I don't think it's been the worst decision. I think he's played pretty well, and he hasn't been a liability either.
We've talked about it a little bit. It's not even just Zubac, but like, I'm shocked at how little Nick Batum is playing. 16, 16, and 16 basically the past 3 games. Yeah. I can only assume that's an injury. I don't understand why he's not getting more time. That's the only, I don't want to say criticism I have, because I just don't think that we have enough information. That's the only piece of this rotation I don't understand.
And Terrence Mann playing 32 and 33 minutes over his last 2 games.
Like, how many minutes did Terrence Mann play this season?
I'm assuming a decent amount because there were plenty of times where he was getting run for Kawhi or George or whoever.
He played 1,200 minutes this season, and now he's just like an essential piece of the rotation. Where if you would have asked me during the regular season, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, Terrence Mann doesn't play."
Right? Yeah, exactly. Hey, he's going to be sitting with Patterson on the bench, but no, he's playing. From a value standpoint, are there guys that we can get to outside of Patrick Beverley? And I know the initial answer is kind of, well, yeah, sure. But I mean, you're getting down into the Luke Kennards and the Cam Johnsons and the Marcus Morris, whose minutes continue to stay in the low 20s, which I think is highly concerning. And he's just not shooting particularly well either. I am pretty convinced he's not close to healthy right now. Like we could talk about, the Terrence Mann and a few of these guys in like the mid-range high value, but really as far as the real cheap guys go, there's not a lot that stands out at all, which is why Beverley is so high owned today.
Exactly. So like on the Clippers side, your options are Cousins, who I don't think is going to see the floor today. Rondo, who I don't really think is going to see the floor today. Luke Kennard at 2,800 or Beverley at 3,200. It's hard to want to go to Kennard when you expect if you're expecting Beverley to play 30 plus minutes. I don't know why you would be expecting something different. So to me, they're not even on the same sort of path. We've got Beverley projected for twice as much ownership. On the Phoenix side, whether you think it's Torrey Craig or Abdel Nader or Eton Moore, they're all at $1,000. I don't think that they're in the rotation for anything real. Nader just got back, so who knows? Saric is 1,800. With the way that Ayton's avoiding foul trouble, Dario Saric is really only going to see the floor for 10 to 14 minutes. If he can get on Saric is the guy that you could take the biggest swing with because you know how he gets on the floor. If something happens to DeAndre Ayton, Dario Saric immediately benefits. So he's the guy that I would look at. We've already got him in 20% of lineups. So I'm not entirely sure that that's a place where you're going to unearth any real value. After that, you're already above Patrick Beverley's salary. Cam Johnson is $4K. And then you're taking a $2,200 jump to Cam Payne, who looked awful in the last game. I just don't know where else you could possibly pay down without just having to sacrifice one of the better options to get more of the mid-tier.
So how difficult is it to make lineups that you feel good about today?
Depends who you are. If you're some of these people in YouTube chat, I guess it's pretty hard because you don't want to play guys that are obvious values. If you're me, I think it's pretty easy because my optimal of Beverley at captain, George, Booker, Ayton, Zubats, and Mann, I think looks great.
It's really not that bad. Yeah. It's I mean, what do lineups look like with Ivica Zubats at captain? Have a little fun here and mix it up. So,
all right, my top 10. So Zubats a captain, George, Booker, Ayton, Marcus Morris, Pat Bev is my Zubats captain optimal. I don't like the Marcus Morris piece, but he's 4,400 now. So you can only be so mad. I mean, we're talking about a guy that started this series at 8K.
Right. I actually don't hate that. I don't love it either. I don't love the fact that if Morris did happen to play more minutes, it probably comes at the expense of Ivica Zubats.
Yeah.
But the hope here kind of is that Zubats plays 37 and then Morris plays 25, but starts actually hitting his shots. And if that's the case, and because Morris could easily get up 10 shots in 25 minutes, he could get up 8 threes in that matter of time. And it wouldn't shock me. So as much as I'm not huge on him, his prices come down to reflect his production and his minutes. You're not paying for starting 35 plus minute Marcus Morris anymore. So I can get on board with that.
So here's the trick. Would you rather have Marcus Morris or Cam Johnson? Because my third lineup is projected for less, but Morris is over Cam Johnson. I have the same lineup here: George, Booker, Ayton, Cam Johnson, Pat Bev with Zubats. I don't know what to make of that one, but I'll say this much. If Marcus Morris is 24% owned and Cam Johnson is 10, I like the Cam Johnson version of that in a larger field GPP.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If they're close enough in ownership, it doesn't really matter to me. But as it stands right now, there is a pretty big gap. Really significant gap, as a matter of fact, almost 3 times the ownership for Marcus Morris. So yeah, I don't have an issue with that. If you swapped out Morris for Payne, you'd have Zubats, or I'm sorry, for Cam Johnson, you'd have Zubats, Booker, Ayton, Beverly, George, and Cameron Johnson.
Yeah.
You could also, this is another lineup where you could swap out Devin Booker for Chris Paul. There's a lot you can do with Zubats at captain for sure.
Absolutely. I like it. I expect him to be one of my preferred captains. Really, that trio that I mentioned, Reggie Jackson, Zubats, and Patrick Beverly, oddly enough, all coming from the Clippers, even though I do like the Suns for this game. I think those three guys really are the best sort of GPP options you can get to if you're looking to get a little different versus the field. If you're looking to limit your chops, I mean, those three guys are going to remove duplications pretty dramatically given their captain ownership. I like going those directions if you're playing in the large field stuff. If you're playing in the big stuff, it's a lot of Paul George.
Do you have any Reggie Jackson captain?
Yeah, to me, so like he's behind Beverly, he's behind Zubats. He's fourth for me on the Clippers, but he's only really behind Devin Booker for me overall. Let me take a look and see what some of the lineups will look like with him at the captain spot. His price is just a little higher than you want it to be at this point, but main lineup with Reggie Jackson at captain is a 5-1 Clippers stack with Paul George, Zubats, Mann, and Beverly plus DeAndre Ayton. I'm fine with it. I would like to get to more of the Suns just because I do like the Suns in this game. But to get to a more Suns lineup, this one's 3-3, and it ends up bringing Saric in at 1,800, which makes me along with Ayton, which I don't really love that construction.
You like the Suns in this game, eh?
Well, I do have a little bit of a bet out on Suns to win this series 4-1 per the breakfast menu. So
I thought you had the Bucks to win 4-1.
No, I have the Bucks 4-2.
Ah, okay.
So Suns win today. I win that one. I thought about hedging, just taking Clippers money line today, locking in a little bit of loot, but I do like I do think the Suns just close them out. I don't think the Clippers have enough left in the tank.
I like that you're betting now, man. That makes me happy. Like, really getting in on it a little bit.
Have to. It's fun to talk about. Ben makes me want to do all sorts of weird stuff when it comes to sports betting. You talk to him for a little bit and you're betting on like Moldovan rock rolling contests and stuff. And it's just like, oh my God.
The stuff that Ben has sucked me into, like middling college lacrosse bets and just some truly absurd stuff. And he'll say it like he's what's the MMA, but it's like a lower scale MMA. They still
either PFL or Bellator, PFL. One of the two. Yeah.
So now he's like, as Ben, I just in my best Ben vernacular, this slappy shouldn't last past the first round.
No.
And now
he's betting on like Russian carnival games and stuff. You never know what it's going to be. It's just like, those games where you shoot the clown in the mouth and the thing goes up. He's doing that, but it's all just sad clowns across it. They only film that stuff in black and white. It's awful.
Right. And you can only find it on the dark web. Like the live stream is deep in the dark. It's
like a CCTV feed.
Yeah. Him and Matt Gajewski are going to do the hot dog eating contest, which I'm stoked for. Now, I don't know if I should be telling you this because this was kind of going to be a surprise because I'm excited, but Ben says that he is deceptively good at eating hot dogs. Like he could win a contest against you and Matt and such. Now, what I'm thinking is we set legitimate odds on this, right? We do a little hot dog eating contest analysis for the main thing, which I don't know shit about. But I'll be there. I'll host that. I don't care. And then we have a hot dog eating contest. Would you set yourself as the favorite against anyone at Awesemo?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah, I would.
Standard 12 minutes.
It would be hard for me to not set myself as the favorite there.
Huh.
Nobody else is coming on these streams and eating 100 pizza bites.
Yeah, but it's timing. It's about the time. It's not about the amount you consume. It's about
right. Well, and go back and watch that pizza bite video. I ate 75 of those in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Okay, that's pretty good. All right.
I casually finished that contest. Now, I'll say this much. I know that Ben puts away food like he smokes like I do.
And
I don't understand it. He'll be like, oh, I got a lobster roll and a lobster quesadilla and then some other additional food that doesn't make any sense. And that's just for him. And he's not built like someone that eats all of that food.
No, he's not. I'd be surprised if he could put down like an average size hoagie in one sitting.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he was telling me he was about to get 2 Subway subs on Friday.
That can't be right.
You never know, man.
I don't know, but I would like to do this. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I think you guys will enjoy it as well. It'll be a fun way to. When is the hot dog eating contest? Do you know?
4th of July.
Oh, it is on the 4th.
Always.
Okay. All right, so be a good way.
Sign
to
me up
wind
for
down
like. Do they still do the Wing Bowl?
I think they just did the last one. You know, oh my God. I took Justine to one of those. Absolute debauchery, just anarchy. They are nuts. We woke up at like 4 a.m. You got to get there super early. There's people passed out fighting, puking in the parking lot. If you've ever, I thought to myself, like, what was I thinking? Mind you, I was very young at the time, and we were, everything was fine. It's not like anything happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's like every other Philly event.
Exactly. Right. If you just kind of come correct and don't do anything stupid, you're fine. But if
you've ever tailgated an Eagles game, it's not going to be all that different than going to Wing Bowl.
Exactly. Yes. Except everyone's hammered at 5 a.m. But the camera, every time it flashed to a girl in the audience, they'd flash their tits. Yeah. Every single one of them. Like, and I'm thinking, if this fucking camera comes over here, this isn't happening, right?
Would she have done it?
No, come on, no. With Katie?
How long have we been drinking?
Okay, so you started drinking at like midnight. It's 5 a.m.
I don't think she'd be first, but if they had already done, if they've shown 6 girls and she's 7, they're going out. They're up on the jumbotron.
You think so?
No doubt about it.
Now, is that a peer pressure thing because everyone else is doing it, or just like, hey, having fun, or both?
Both. Yeah. It happens without question. Maybe not now, obviously, but like 10 years ago. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Oh, well, you didn't specify 10 years ago.
Well, the way that you just said
at the time, which you've done it.
Yeah, the way that you're explaining it doesn't strike me that it happened yesterday. Like,
right? No, this was a long time. This was like 9 years ago, man.
Yeah. No, now not a chance.
I'd say there's a non-0% chance that it would have happened. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But like now, no way.
No, no chance now.
No way. And
I hope no chance now.
Like, oh, you really surprised me.
I mean, I wouldn't care at all. It'd be hysterical. The place would go nuts. Like, it's
right.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me.
No, right. You're going home with her.
Yeah, like it'll be hilarious. I'm not mad.
If there's ever another Wing Bowl, we might have to just nut up and go. Like, come over, stay here, and we'll just drive over there at like 2 a.m. and start drinking. I will do that in a heartbeat. Would you? Yeah, no doubt about it. It's Super Bowl, right? Or is it like the week between? It's a week after, I think, the Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah. If that exists again, I'm bringing my best Black Widow T-shirt or whoever the hell else used to do it. Yeah, let's do it, man. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. If only. And I just want to eat wings, if I'm being perfectly honest. You guys can meet us there. We'll all do it up in the parking lot. Monster tailgate. Go in and watch I'm telling you, it's just like a world of debauchery. It's unbelievable. But you know what? It's fun. All right, so let's hit on Hall of Fame here. I almost forgot. Yeah. And then we'll close this out. We got some great props and our final thoughts on this showdown slate for tonight. And if you'd like to hit Josh just on FanDuel for a couple minutes, I think that'd be helpful. Some people really enjoy the FanDuel analysis around these ways. So let's kick it off with Jordan. Hit that music. Make sure it's up a little bit loud enough just so everyone can hear it. And if you're wondering what the Hall of Fame segment is, very simple. We like to show off and brag for you guys, but you got to be rocking that Awesemo avatar. Maybe if you're just like an avid viewer and we know you and love you around here, we'll pop it up there for sure. But download the Awesemo avatar at awesemo.com/avatar. Tweet your wins at Awesemo HOF, Awesemo Hall of Fame. Include Josh and myself in there. While you're at it, hit us with a follow. Much appreciated. Win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Everything on the site. When you, very simple, finish first through third in a field of 5,000 or more, it's $100 value on the subscription. ownership, projections, top stack tool, boom bust tool, lineup builder, everything we got. And if you want to get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, you can do that as well. Remember, these tools, all of them built by Alex Baker, Awesemo himself, #1 ranked DFS player out there. This is why we do this. Not only bright, but to show you, we got winners here. We got winners. We're not just bullshitting you. Look at this. Rob winning, right in the name. 267, second place. Congrats in the pick and roll. Coming up next, you've got Rhett Kramer. Shout out to the whole Awesemo squad for putting in that work to help me do this. Another $365 win. And here's, congrats, Rhett, by the way. Our boy, SF Deck TO. I have live bullets every night for a couple of reasons. Awesemo_com and the whole Awesemo team. Without a doubt, the best DFS team in the biz. Wouldn't rock the logo otherwise. Solid operation you got going on there, fella. $1,800. Congrats. TY7, $4,000 hit right there. $289.56 on FanDuel. Congrats to you. And close it out again. Here he is with Peter Hanley, PJ Hanley. What a great weekend. Thanks to those great guys at Awesemo. Thanks for the tag, but I was nowhere to be found this weekend. Still, got a good team around this way. Another $13,000 win. Or is that two $13,000 wins for him?
Yeah, he won 2 different things yesterday.
Unbelievable. Congrats, Peter. And tweet us your wins at Awesemo Hall of Fame, Awesemo HOF. Download that avatar and win that free month. And if you just want to check out everything we've got at Awesemo, go to awesemo.com/join. We got weekly, monthly, sub $5 weekly packages, annual, one sport, all sport, doesn't matter. We got you. And hit me up, DM on Twitter if you have any questions. They are open. All right, man, here we go. We're coming into the home stretch here. We're 10 likes away from 100. So be much obliged if you, as Omar Little would say, hit that thumb. Yeah. Well, he wouldn't say hit the thumbs up. He would say much obliged.
Yeah, he was constantly asking people for thumbs up on the streets. Hey, I'm taking us down a different path for a second.
Please. I saw your face kind of go sideways looking at something while I was doing that.
So the last Wing Bowl was 2018. Neither here nor there.
Yep.
By the way, they did 2 of them at the Electric Factory in the mid-90s, which is hysterical.
Oh, I didn't know that.
2 of them then were at the Spectrum. And then they knocked that down.
I knew that.
It's been at the Wells Fargo Center ever since.
That's
do you know how in 2018? Do you know how many wings were consumed to win the event in? Let me make sure I get the time right. A half hour.
Was it the female that's insane?
Yes, Molly Schuler.
Yeah, Molly. She is nuts, man. Like that girl is unreal.
She won 3 separate times.
Oh, it's tough because my guy, the LA Beast, who, if you've ever watched him on YouTube, he's hilarious. I don't actually know him, but I've watched his videos. I think he was at the 2018 one. He ended up puking. And I remember watching all the highlights from that. How many was it?
You got to guess.
230?
501.
What?
She beat the previous year by almost 100.
She's insane. She's truly insane. Like not
the highest before that was 444. She ate 57 more wings than that. I don't know if I could eat 57 wings.
500. No, that's not easy, man.
500. I don't even know how you do that fast enough.
It's a skill.
So, all right. So in 30 minutes, there are 1,800 seconds.
She must have blown her butthole out hard the next day, man.
Well, I don't think they have to be like habanero wings.
I don't care. You have 500 wings sitting in your belly. You think it's just coming out clean?
Probably not. That's 16 wings a minute.
Yeah, that seems not only.
I don't know how you do that. It doesn't only
seem improbable. It seems impossible.
Like, let's just say, for example, you don't have to worry about it's not a wing eating contest. It's a chicken nugget eating contest. So you don't have to navigate bones. You're just
throwing them down.
Even that sounds like it's really hard to do.
Yeah. Well,
like, I don't know where you get the time to chew and clean that. Yeah, like with the pizza bites, you can just pop them in your mouth. For wings, I mean, if you get the flats, like you got to navigate meat in the middle of bones and stuff. You got to hope they're cooked correctly so they break apart and stuff.
God, I wish it was still there so we could go and and tailgate and watch it. You know, they come out in floats, right? They all have like custom made floats and they go around the arena.
It's amazing.
You would love it. You would truly love it, man. It's great.
Do you know how many were eaten at Wing Bowl 1?
I'll say like 201.
100. The lowest amount for a winner was January 28th, 2000 for Tollman Joe, who ate 90.
So the evolution of the game is insane.
I don't know what kind of steroids and stuff people got on, but they crossed the 400 barrier in 2015. Meanwhile, Tollman Joe ate 90 at Wing Bowl 8.
Pretty impressive.
Now we can talk about DFS again if you want.
We should start.
500 just seems so implausible to me that I had to talk about it.
It is. It's insane. I wonder if they stopped it because I wonder if it's over just because it got so intense and out of control.
Think about how many wings you have to prepare.
Well, I don't think they're too.
How big is the fryer to make 500 wings for one person?
I don't think that was the reason they stopped it.
Think about how many you got to make though. It's like, oh, it's cool. We fried 3,000 wings today.
You would need more than that, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I get pissed off when it takes them 25 minutes to make 12.
So I got a couple props I like, Josh. Maybe you can give us one that you had from earlier in the day. And everybody go check out the breakfast menu. I don't know if it's up yet, but it might be in the editing process. It'll be up soon. It'll basically be like the late lunch, early dinner menu. No, I'm kidding. Probably like the brunch menu, I think it would be. By the time
it's the breakfast menu for Ben and I.
Right.
We filmed this at 9 a.m.
Makes sense. So I have one that I like here, and it's Paul George over 9.5 rebounds at plus money. He's got 15 and 16 boards over his last 2 games. And one of the big things here is it's important to consider when you're looking at over and under props in the playoffs, how many minutes are these guys going to play? Could Paul George legitimately play 46 minutes today? I think he does. I'm not saying that you're projecting him for that for DFS. It doesn't matter whether you're projecting him for 40 or 46, but I think the answer to that, honestly, is yes. He played 46 minutes in the clinching game against the Utah Jazz. I could see him doing, Kevin Durant very close to the whole game. This is it. This is everything. This is it for them. It's the end of the season, or they keep this alive. He's averaging 16 potential rebound chances per game. He's got 16 and 15 boards over his last 2. He's essentially doing everything. Granted, there was a lot of bad shooting last game, but I actually am okay taking the plus money on Paul George over 9.5 rebounds. Right now, if you go to Odd Shopper, you can get some really good odds on that. If you look around those books, they're all lined up beautifully next to each other. You don't have to do any work, but look and head over there. But plus 105, plus 110, some really good spots on him. I like the over 9.5 today. What are you doing, Josh, today?
So obviously spoiling the breakfast menu, but you should watch it anyway and hit that like button when you do.
There's still 5 other bets that you guys do. So
yeah, well, I only do 3. Patrick Beverly, I already mentioned. Over points.
I'm saying 5 total additional in the video, even if you give one away.
I'll hit you with my other main prop. That would be Jay Crowder over 2.5 3-pointers made plus 130. I have him projected on that number, 2.5 made threes in 33 minutes. So I am projecting him at that mark, the 50-50 shot at 2.5, but I'm getting plus 130. Made 3 threes in game 1, made 3 threes in game 3. So it's game 5. I'm playing the odd game narrative. I think he hits 3 again and brings that one home.
Okay. I like it. And here's the last one I want to hit on, right? I want to ask you about it.
Okay.
We talked all show about how the Clippers have been competitive in every game. And the only blowout they ended up winning. It's an elimination game. I think the Clippers deserve some credit when it comes to having their backs up against the wall. Down 0-2 in series 1, or in the quarterfinals, down 0-2 in the semifinals, coming back winning 4 straight, 2 of which came without Kawhi Leonard. This is a team that has been pretty resilient, and I think they deserve credit for that. Do you like taking the 5 points with the Clippers today? I know I get that it goes against your 4-1 Suns victory, but 5 points to me, given how this series has gone, even though it's 3-1, I kind of like the Clippers to cover this.
I would take the Suns if I had to take either side of it, because I think once if it gets to the point where they think it's over, I think it's just sort of over. To come back from being down, 5-6 points in the middle of the fourth quarter, you get one bucket, you push it to 8, and it's like, shit, we just don't have it left in the tank to try to get there. I think that you could see this cover in more of a backdoor sense, because I think most of the game is going to be close, but I like the Suns to just sort of finish it out in the end. I just think they got a lot more gas in the tank.
All right.
It's not something that I'm super comfortable about. That much I'll tell you. Like, it's not
hitting,
one of my bets.
You're not taking either side of this, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not.
Matter of fact, I'm looking. Jordan's got Odd Shopper put up. Jordan Klein doing a great job as always, giving us these solid visuals. You can get him plus 5.5 in some spots. Yeah, I mean, there's no real juice on the over. There shouldn't be on a spread bet, right? But a couple of them minus 110. Okay. See, like I think I have to take 5.5 points in an elimination game from a team that has played as well as they have and kept games as close as they have. So yeah, I'm going to go there as well. Josh, let's wrap this up with a little bit, just quick FanDuel discussion here for those who have stuck around for it. And remember, all of these shows, if you don't catch them live, you can go back and watch them after they've recorded. You can come in while it's live and just go all the way back to the beginning. That's another way to do it. Or check it out on our podcast network, AWESCMO, if you're looking for the podcast, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want. And if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, we do a drawing every single Friday. Just leave a rating and a review. It's greatly appreciated with your email or your Twitter handle. And if you win, we'll get at you. But yeah, if you don't want to check it out on YouTube, you're sick of not having premium, so your phone's always on and you can't put it in your pocket with the screen closed. YouTube Premium's a game changer, by the way, but I'm just saying. If you don't have it, you don't want to get it, I understand. Check out the podcast network. Josh, FanDuel, hit me.
Yeah, so Paul George is the unquestioned top MVP option, pulling 67% of ownership as of right now. I only have it at 53%, so I'd like to be a little bit lighter, but he is very clearly the best option of the entire day. Only other legitimate MVP options you can get to are probably coming from Phoenix, whether that's Booker, Paul, or Ayton. Booker, to me, the guy that you get to more often than not. I do have him projected higher than Chris Paul. Both of those guys pulling 60% aggregate ownership. If we're talking about guys that I like more than the public appears to like, I think Reggie Jackson is going a bit under-owned. The $12,500 price tag, probably the reason behind that. I think Zubats is going a little under-owned. He is at $12K. Both of those guys just not pulling as much ownership as I was expecting in the pro spot in particular. Reggie Jackson and Zubats showing up there about 15% of the time for me. We're only projecting ownership in like the 6% range. So that's where I would be looking to slot in the Jacksons and Zubatses of the world. If we're looking for anybody else, I'm not seeing a ton of legitimate value on other sides. Like, I still like Patrick Beverley at 9K on FanDuel, but it's a very different play for Beverley as a utility option than it is on DraftKings. Still a favorite of mine, still not picking up enough ownership, but I like Jackson and Zubats a little bit more in some of the more power spots.
All right. I want to close it on this, Josh. So They're saying the average chicken wing uncooked weighs around 3.5 ounces. I'm assuming cooked, they would be around like 3.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right? 3. I'm assuming they lose weight when they're cooked, right?
Yeah, have to.
Yeah. So let's say 3 ounces. Shade 501 of them. Shade 501 at 3 ounces each.
Yeah, that seems impossible.
It does, right?
Yeah.
What is it, 28.4? Or no. So how many pounds would that be?
I'm seeing that the serving size of a wing with the bone and skin removed is 20 grams, but the skin isn't removed here. So even if you called it 25 grams, we're talking about 12,500 grams.
There's 16 ounces in a pound. So what are we putting it at? 3 ounces each? Or you want it?
We're talking something in like the 25 to 30 pounds range.
We could even do 2.5 ounces. Okay. And you're still talking a lot of weight.
Call it 25 pounds. That is bonkers. Bonkers, dude. The pizza bites were like the pizza bites were like 4. Even if you just want to say it's 20 pounds.
It can't be 3 ounces. If it's, if it's 3 ounces, and she ate 501 of them, that's not like 93 pounds. There's no way. So they've got to be less. But even if it's 25, 30 pounds, and Chris, yeah, you brought this up earlier. That's what I wanted to bring this up. Like, even if that is 30 pounds, let's just like super low end estimate. Let's say everyone weighs, an ounce or whatever. I don't know how you do it.
My math is garbage. The fact that you think that she ate 90 pounds of meat should be the thing that's jumping out to you a little bit, because that is not possible. You can't eat 90 pounds of food in 30 minutes. There's no plate. If you think my math is bad, go ahead and use the calculator. Joey Chestnut gained 24 pounds in 10 minutes during the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in 2019.
Wait, say it again.
Joey Chestnut gained 24 pounds in 10 minutes during the hot dog contest in 2019. Slightly less than 90, But
still, 25 pounds is an insane amount of weight to gain in 10 minutes. I don't know how to do it.
Joey Chestnut gaining 24 pounds has to be like the upper bound of this.
Gotta be.
Right?
But
that's not.
But that Molly's got to be up close to that as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. But like, if Joey Chestnut got into the Wing Bowl, you'd expect him to win. I mean, he has won in the past.
I don't know if he'd beat 501.
Well, he won it 3 years in a row, and then I assume stopped doing it. But look, nobody's beating him in that scenario. He's not going to lose Wing Bowl because he can't get the volume. That's for sure. If he's not good enough eating the wings, which I do believe is a bit of a skill here, that's a different story. But like, there's no one on the planet that has more volume than Joey Chestnut.
Guess how much Molly Schuler weighs?
She's probably super little. 130 pounds.
Yeah, 120.
Yeah, look at that.
Nice. She ate 26 burgers in 10 minutes. She's eaten 48 slices of pumpkin pie in 10 minutes. This woman, crazy. Gonna set you up with her, Jordan.
All right, here we go. Hot dog eating contest. According to Nathan's website, one hot dog weighs 3.5 ounces. That means 70 hot dogs weighs 15 pounds.
Okay.
Plus buns then. So yeah, that's where you're getting like 25.
It's unthinkable. Like, you take everything LeBron James has done throughout his career and you say, man, that is some remarkable stuff, right? Take Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, all of these guys, Tom Brady. I'm more impressed that you can put on 25 pounds in 10 minutes by eating wings and hot dogs.
To put it in perspective, 15 pounds is a good-sized Thanksgiving turkey before it's cooked.
Granted, you don't eat the bone, but
here's a fun one. 70 hot dogs lined up end to end is 35 feet in length. Could you imagine if you just had to work your way down the line? It was just like a conveyor belt. You're just
And just one more thing here. With the wings, you're not eating the bone. So
right.
It's probably around an ounce each. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I don't think that we could realistically say that she ate more than 30 pounds of meat.
I don't care. That's still an insane amount of meat.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Anything north of 20 is crazy to me.
How many wings? This is what we'll close with. And for those of you still hanging out with us in chat, very same question. Let's end this on a fun note. Right now, you are asked, how many wings can you eat? Right? It has to be over 20, Josh. Okay, which should be no problem for most people. It has to be. Okay, how many wings can you eat if you hit that mark? Now, there's a sensor that knows whether or not you are full or not. So like there's this insane technology now that I'm just making this up, right? So you have to get to that point where it's the last wing you can eat, but you get there and you win $1 million. How many could you eat?
So I have eaten 51 in a sitting before.
You have?
I have eaten 51.
Drumsticks and regular wings?
Yeah, and they brought me out this entire tray of, the goal was to eat 55. I was not full at 51. I was disgusted. They brought me all 55 at once. So by the time I got halfway through, they were cold and just sitting in a butter sauce, which was gross. So I sent them back to at least have them reheated. They brought them back. It tasted terrible. I was not full at 51. I just couldn't eat the disgusting wings that I had any longer. I did, in fact, eat a cheeseburger immediately after that. Now, we're talking 15 years ago, but the wing game has not changed for me. If I needed to put 50 away right now, not a problem.
How many hot dogs could you eat?
Not a lot. The bun is the problem for me.
Okay.
The only way that I could do a lot of hot dogs is if you allow me to grill them. I want them burnt and charred and I want that.
Yeah, that's a problem. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. If they're just boiled and then I got to dunk my buns in a glass of milk and that's disgusting.
Well, we'll do that hopefully on the 4th of July or whenever. It doesn't have to be on 4th. Maybe it'll be the day after. Or no, the couple days before that. We'll have a good time. Appreciate you. Zach says he could eat 100 boneless wings. Yeah, I mean, boneless is a different ball game, but with boneless, there is a decent amount of meat on them.
The breading is really the problem in those scenarios. That's why the pizza bites were so good. There's not a lot of it's a pretty thin layer of dough. You're getting a lot of meat goo, and that's the good spot. For
sure. And Carlos, our graphic designer guy, Jake, who leads everything we do with the graphic design and these badges and everything. He said, because you used the wrong avatar, it's unfortunate. I would have put you up in the Hall of Fame, even though that avatar, it kind of doesn't look identical to an Awesemo avatar, which is kind of the problem. He said if you hit another one with the Awesemo logo, he's going to custom make you a solid gold Awesemo avatar. So that's kind of cool. Hopefully you take it down and we'll get you a good one there. But yeah, you got to have the legitimate avatar in there. It's just the way things go, man. Otherwise people already throw crazy stuff up there that just looks nothing like it. And they assume that it's an avatar, but it's not. Any final thoughts, Josh, before we head out for the morning and turn this over to everything else we've got going on today?
No, I'm excited to watch this game tonight. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think it's great for Phoenix if they could pick up this W and get a little bit of rest because they're so far ahead. It is kind of a bummer if this series ends because we will not be doing this strategy show on Wednesday. That's kind of not ideal, but go Phoenix because I want to win that bet for the breakfast menu.
Appreciate you guys. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Follow Josh at Josh Engleman, myself at Lafayette_D, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow on the Strategy Show presented by No House Advantage. What?